Slowfell again. This video, I am going through my process for a commission I got of Domino, and the question was, how do I go about inking things? And I thought I'd talk about kind of my approach to it and how I do it. So I guess this is a video about how I ink. So this first part of the video here is me just roughing in the drawing, because this is something I'm actually gonna do a traditional finish on. Most of the time, and most of the stuff that I do at the moment is all through Procreate in digital. I don't usually do too much traditional work nowadays, but usually if I do a commission, most people want an actual physical object and not just a print of something. So right now, what I started out doing was doing a digital rough drawing of what I wanted the commission to look like. So working digitally is so much faster for me. As you can see, I've tried out all types of different faces on her, different hairstyles, different ways to spot the blacks and everything. Doing stuff digitally just allows me lots of different options, and I don't have to be too precious with anything. I can make changes on the fly, and everything's real quick. I can explore different things. So I just finished the digital rough. So now what I'm doing is I took the drawing and I printed it out at the size that I was going to actually do the commission in, and the size was 9x12, and I printed it out on my printer, and then I brought it over to my Lightbox here. And what you're seeing me do now is do the actual inking with a brush pen on over the digital rough. So I'm kind of mixing the two different methods of drawing. I'm using one to aid the other. So when it comes to inking, when I first started drawing and trying to actually finish things in ink, I was always very scared, I guess. So my lines would be really shaky. I would go really slow and try to be super precise with what I was drawing, and I would never get the results that I wanted. So over time, and it took a long time. I mean, lots of trying different materials and stuff. I found that I'm much more comfortable with a brush or a brush pen versus an actual Micron or a Staedtler pen or whatever, or a multiliner. It just the brush just feels better to me. I feel like I can control it better. So with this, what I'm doing is I try to go from top to bottom. And normally, if I wasn't making this video, I'd probably be turning the page to help myself make the lines, because your arm, or when you're drawing, most people naturally can pull lines in a certain direction, so it's easier to shift that page around to accommodate how my wrist is moving or whatever. But just for the sake of the video, I just kind of kept it straight and up and down, just so we're not going all over the place. But anyway, like I said, I'm starting from kind of top to bottom, and I'm moving down. I'll go in, I'll like outline something, and then I'll go in and I'll fill the blacks. And that's just my way to do it. It helps me to see what's going on quicker, and just how my mind works. Some folks will do all the outlines first, but and I've tried that method before, but I like to actually see where the blacks are going in right away. And I'll just, like I said, just move from kind of top to bottom and finish things out. And I'm really trying to, when I decide to make a line, I make the line. I try not to be to overthink it or do it too slowly, because I feel like when I do that, that's when you can really tell like how shaky my lines are. So I just kind of, I guess I just kind of learned to embrace that a little bit in my art, the kind of messiness. And if you look at any of my stuff like on Instagram, especially like the stuff that I've done like in the last couple of years, is I am a little bit messy. I don't think I'll ever be like a super clean inker. And once I realized that, and understood that about myself, I started to make, I guess, bigger leaps in the way I do things and ink things. I mean, you know, I guess I could like really take a lot of time and try to get like super good and super tight with my inks, but you know, I don't know, for me it feels like it stiffens my drawings up too much, and I feel that if I'm a little bit looser, I'm not concerned on making that line completely straight, you know, not getting freaked out if I mess up a little bit, then it gives my drawings a little bit more life. And I think that's important to me. I felt like once I understood that, and I started to kind of practice that way, it seemed like my drawings started to connect with people a little on a different level. I noticed that like really quickly, because then I got people, you know, asking me about like, wow, you know, like how do you do this, or I really like your style. And to me, I'm thinking like, oh, that's awesome. I'm just really lazy, you know, and that's why the art looks the way it does. You know, I'm getting through it. And I'm not worrying about you know, the how straight a line is or whatever. You're just relaxed, you know, and that's probably my biggest advice, is just to relax. You know, it's just a drawing, you know, just relax and just let it kind of flow, you know. You're gonna make mistakes, and truly the only way you'll ever get better is to make those mistakes, because if you don't make those mistakes, you're not gonna learn. If you do everything perfect all the time, then what is there to learn? You know. I mean, even this drawing right here, since this was commissioned, I wanted it to look a certain way, and this is actually my second attempt at inking it. The first attempt, I screwed up on the face, and I screwed up in a way that I couldn't fix. I mean, I could white it out and go over top of it, but I don't usually like doing that. So I actually started over, because anytime when I'm drawing women, like, and you can see it, like, even in the rough, digitally, is I spent a lot of time figuring out, like, what the face is going to look like, and trying to get a face that looks appealing. Because the face is such a focal point for most people. If you mess that up, then it's really hard to save the rest of the drawing. I mean, you can have like a really banging body on the girl or whatever, but if you mess that face up, it's just, it doesn't really matter what else you do. So I always spend a lot of time on that. So, like I say, and as you can see, I'm kind of moving pretty quick here. And my style now is more of a, it's hard to describe what I like a more kind of classic, like animation style. Like some of the guys that I'll study are Toth. I study a lot of John Buscema, Bruce Timm, Darwin Cook. I also study a lot of Chris Samnee, and that type of work where it's not like super realistic, but the way they use like light and shadow and their shape language, where it's not like super detailed. You kind of let the eye do some of the work, or the mind do work, instead of like drawing every line closed or whatever. So, and I'm just about done with this. So again, like I said, I printed out the rough drawing that I did in Procreate. I taped it down, and put a piece of Bristol board on top of it, and put it on the light box, and then I went directly to inks right over it on the light box. I used to do pencils first, and then I would take the drawing, and then I would ink over pencils that I had light boxed or whatever. But now I don't do that. I just go straight to ink, because once you start throwing in more steps, then it starts to tighten the drawing up for me. And right now what I'm doing is, even though I can see stuff through the light box, some of the details, like the extra details, I won't come through. So what I'm doing now is I pulled the rough drawing that I printed out to the side there to the left, and now I'm looking at my actual traditional piece, and I'm trying to study the things that I can add to it, like the making little fine details. But anyway, so now what I wanted to do for this piece too is I wanted to add a little bit of something else to it. So I have a light gray ink brush pen that I'm using to add some shadows, just to give a little bit of depth to the traditional piece. So it's not just black and white. And the one on the left is actually the first one I had done that I had messed up on. And now they look pretty similar, I know, but the one on the left, I made I messed up on the lips, so it kind of just, in the eyes a little bit. So I didn't really like the way that turned out. So then I started over. But the nice thing about that is I was able to do like a quick study of where I wanted to put the gray ink in on the piece that I'm doing. So sometimes it's good to do little studies first, just so you can plan out things. And again, I'm not being super precious about where I'm putting stuff. I'm just trying to think of like, okay, where's the light at in the picture, and using the ink is almost the gray ink almost is like a shadow in some spots, and then other spots just to kind of break up the white in the drawing. And I had actually before I did this with the gray ink, I actually had scanned the regular ink in back into the computer so that I can have that, because this one I'm actually gonna color too. I wanted to give the person that commissioned me to do this a color print, and I don't ever color traditionally, so the way I can provide a color piece is to actually like scan it in and color it in Procreate, and then I can print out a print for them. So then they'll have a traditional piece and then an actual like color piece, which is what we're looking at now. And this is kind of my coloring process real quick here. With this domino, there really isn't a lot of color to it, so it's pretty quick. I mean, I try to keep it simple, like 3 or 4 colors, some background element, just to kind of pull her off the background, because her skin is like a very pale skin, and that's it. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.